Hi, lovey. Come on in, come on in, come on in. We are talking about the Great Lock-In, the Winter Arc, 75 Hard, all that great stuff. If you've ever started any one of those things and you did not finish, or if you're a person who tends to start things really, really strong and you struggle to finish, hey, lovey, you struggle to finish, this is going to be the lie for you. Because you're going to find out why you struggle to finish. And it's not what you think. A lot of you think, oh, it's discipline, it's this, it's that. You're going to really find out it's not any of that. Okay? So if you really want to lock in for the great lock in and you really are serious about achieving your goals and goal mastery and all of that, then this is definitely going to be the lie for you. If you don't know who I am, my name is Elle Antoinette. I am an energetics and identity mentor, and what I do specifically is that I mentor visionary women to dissolve invisible ceilings. And this supports them in embodying their emotional and energetic authority so that their relationships, their wealth, and their influence, as well as their leadership, reflects their authentic design, okay? The reason why so many women who are making money out here, who are doing well, are exhausted is because they are not operating according to their feminine design. They are in male-centered fields or whatever, and they're feeling like they need to play and act like men. When you are in male-centered fields, that is the best time for you to be a woman. It is the absolute best time for you to be a woman. I love being in spaces where it's always male-centered fields and I'm the only woman in there. Yeah. When I get done in that room, if we're working on a project, I guarantee you the majority of things that I need done and needed to delegate, I've been able to delegate to the masculine in the room because I don't believe in doing everything. And I don't believe in acting like men to be able to achieve my goals. I believe being in alignment with my authentic feminine design, operating with my cyclical nature instead of a linear nature, which is what the masculine has. That's what supports me and helps me, okay? And I've been able to help my amazing clients do the same thing. Women who come to work with me get one of three results, or they get all three, or they get two, but they leave with something, okay? They either make more money, they master their emotions so that they can attract better community and better partnerships, right? They also get healthier. I have clients who've lost as low as 20 pounds, clients who've lost as high as 80 pounds. I used to be 100 pounds heavier. So women that come to work with me, those are the results that they end up getting, one of those three: making more money, getting healthier, attracting better community and partnerships. So if you're interested in any of those things, stick around because this one is for you, okay? Now I'm going to just tell you, flat foot, this live is going to ruffle some feathers, but it's also going to tell you the truth. And in telling you the truth is going to support you in you making the decision, to see if you want to go to the next level. Because a lot of people say that they want things, but they're not really ready to do the work necessary to be able to get to where you need to be, okay? So we're going to talk about it today. Again, we're talking about why the Great Lock-In, or why your Great Lock-In, or Winter Arc, or 75 Hard, or Vision Board Challenge, or whatever it is that you're working on and you've worked on, why it's not going to last past October, okay? So everyone is in this mode of the Great Lock-In. If you haven't heard about the Great Lock-In, or if you haven't heard about, the Winter Arc or 75 Hard, it basically is saying like you're going to go from September 1 to December 31st, and you're going to high key focus on some areas of your life that you want to improve. This could look like you wanting to lose weight and get healthier. This could look like you wanting to increase your income. This could look like you wanting to just, learn something new, learn a language, whatever. It's something that you are locking in on and focusing on so that you can execute. And when these things come around, like, it's real cute. Like when stuff like these challenges come online and stuff, it's really cute because people get really excited and they're like, oh my God, yes, I'm finna lock in. Everybody in the comments talking about how they finna lock in and they finna do this and they finna do that. But when it's getting all these dopamine hits, but when it's time to actually get out there and put in some sweat equity that's in alignment with your feminine design, we have a problem with that. We don't want to do that. We can't seem to keep that up. You know what's interesting to me, what I find very interesting? A woman can stalk a man and his new girlfriend or his new wife for years. Years, right? But you don't have 6 weeks or 8 weeks to dedicate to the betterment of yourself. If you got time to lock in with people who ain't locked in with you for a long time. Like them situationships. You have time to lock in with yourself. Okay? So these are things that we need to be very, very clear on. So we don't have a consistency issue. Thank you, Lovey. Hi, babe. We don't have a consistency issue. We don't have an issue with getting things done. We have an issue with focusing our attention on what is vital and what's important and what's priority, which is ourselves. And that's because we don't understand the science of ourselves. But that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. I did all the nerd work for you. Like, don't even trip. I'm going to tell you how physics and neuroscience can help you achieve your goals, because that's what you could have been using. That's what you can be using. I use neuroscience. I use scripture, science, and psychology to build a multi-six-figure business from the ground up. I use scripture, science, and psychology to help women make more money. I use scripture, science, and psychology to help women get healthier. I've helped women heal liver issues. I've helped women heal heart issues, heart damage. I have supported my clients in reversing hormonal issues. I have reversed my own hormonal issues. So these things that I'm saying, all of the things that I've been able to do is due to me understanding the science of things, the scripture and the spiritual aspect of it, the scientific aspect of it, and the psychological aspect of it. And there's a way to be able to use those things to achieve your goals. If you're not achieving your goals, it's because you haven't figured out your goal mastery formula yet. There is a formula. Okay? And so we're going to get into it. But let's just go ahead and let's go. So everybody's talking about the Great Lock-In, 75 Hard, Winter Arcs, what else? Discipline challenges, journals, gym selfies, meal prep, all of these things. This is what a lot of people are really kind of going in and talking about. But let me tell you the absolute truth. Most of these people who are doing all this talking, they're not going to last past October. The Great Lock-In started September 1st all the way to December 31st. People done already quit. It's day 3. Or people still haven't even really gotten themselves started. They got all this energy to be online though, saying that they're locking in. It's not because these people are lazy. It's not because these people don't want to even do it. It's not even because you're weak. The truth is you're trying to execute outside of law because you don't understand the physics of yourself and you don't understand neuroscience. You don't know how to program yourself to execute the goal. There's a way to do that. You can program yourself to execute a goal. How do my clients get what it is? Because we change the programming. We rewire your nervous system and we reprogram your mind. And once we do that, you can position yourself to achieve any goal that you desire and any goal that you want. None of these things are lasting for you, even though you start off strong, is because, like I said, you're trying to execute out of law. You don't understand law. Y'all, please, and I said this a couple of years ago, please, 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 if you do nothing else, understand the difference between law, legal, and rules. Okay? Law has to be obeyed. Legal is of the law. It's systematic. Wink, wink. Rules, okay, are supposedly made to keep order, but also there's an exception to the rule. Are supposedly made to keep order, but also there's an exception to the rule, which means that there's always an exception to the rule, which means that all the rules are really fake. It also means that the legal is a system. Systems are created by men. And I don't mean men as in masculine men. I'm saying systems are created by society, the powers that be. So they have things that are of the law. The law is what needs to be obeyed. It cannot be violated because you will not get the result that you are looking for. Okay? So this is what we need to think about and be very clear on. Hold on one second, y'all. Let me make sure Okay, I can't do it. It didn't show so good. All right, good deal. I hate when people come in here and try to, like, trigger. Stuff like that doesn't easily trigger me. That's why I just went ahead and blocked this person. Because stuff like that doesn't trigger me at all. And let me say something, too, for creators who are online and people try to come into your space and do things like that or say things like that. I'm not easily stirred, especially by things that I expect. What you have to realize is that every human being is a walking vessel. Thank you, my love, for these likes. They're being used by something, okay? If you are not utilizing yourself to the best of your ability, you are being used by something. And what you have to understand is that demonic influence knows or tries to pick at things that it feels is going to cause you to come out of body. Things like that don't make me come out of body. Learn to expect your adversary and your enemy to try to provoke and trigger you. And have a plan in place so that you can keep yourself grounded and stay in power. Because that experience right there is force. I'm breaking down the law, Newton's law of force right here in front of you. This person came into my live and said MAGA, right? So because they tried to force their way into my space, they were met with resistance, which is why I blocked this person. That's law. That's the law of force and mass acceleration. This person tried to force their way into my space. It was met with resistance. I accelerated the process of blocking them. And I kept my power. That's how you stay in power. Going back and forth with an individual is an exchange of power. It's an exchange of energy. And people want to transfer energy into your space that is going to trick you into being triggered. Okay? So I hope that was a lesson for everybody. Not to be easily triggered, especially if you are online. People say things that they would never say in real life to your face. Okay? So again, we're talking about why many won't last when it comes down to the great lock-in. Okay? And why most of people who are participating in this experience, the great lock-in, isn't going to go past October for them. And it's not because they're lazy. It's not because they don't want to. It's not because the person is weak. It's literally because they're trying to execute outside of law. Much like that experience right there. You can't put too much force into a space. You can't force yourself to try to do something. You're going to eventually buck. You're eventually going to resist. See, this is why diet culture doesn't work well. Because you have to only eat these things when in reality, when you come out of the diet, right? You're not going to be able, it's not sustainable for you to only eat these things. You're going to be missing vitamins. You're going to be missing nutrients. This is why when you go do certain kind of fast and different things like that, like, oh, I'm solely doing watermelon. We're not eating the watermelons that our ancestors was eating. We're not eating the same thing. So though you think you're getting this and getting all the nutrients, it's not the same. Okay? So it's not sustainable for you to put all that pressure on yourself. You're eventually going to resist, i.e. a cheat meal. That's what that is. When you're dieting and you're having a cheat meal, you're saying to yourself, okay, I've been strict and I've been forcing myself to eat like this for so long. I got to have this. I got to allow myself to have that. I've cracked. But you don't even have to do that. This is why it has to be a lifestyle change. Okay? So again, you're trying to operate outside of law, and that's why these things aren't working for you. And this is why you start off strong, and then you end up stopping. So if you've ever felt like, okay, I started off strong, and then you quit halfway, if you ever shamed yourself for being inconsistent, then you are in the right place, okay? By the end of this life, you're going to know why. You're going to know why you're being inconsistent. You're going to know why you quit halfway, and you'll never see your goals again. One of the things about me that I am able to do is that I'm able to support women in really being able to get results and really achieve the things that they want to achieve goal-wise. So, and a lot of women think it just requires discipline. It's bigger than that. So going into that, let's speak about the lie of discipline that many women have been told. So many women will sit around, right, and say things like, I just don't have discipline. That's why I won't go to the gym. I don't have discipline. I won't do this. You've been hypnotized to really believe that discipline is the answer. When the truth of the matter is, like, waking up at 5 a.m., cold showers, 2 days is nothing but grind, hustle, and force. And as a woman, here's the truth. That element of discipline is masculine. If you're trying to force yourself, if you're trying to grind, if you're trying to hustle, you're going against your feminine design. Did you know that if you have polycystic ovarian syndrome, it's probably not wise for you to do hard exercises because it's going to do what? Raise your cortisol levels. But you don't know that, right? So you trying to go and do the workout that your homegirl doing because you don't understand the science of yourself, and you're trying to figure out why you're not losing weight, and she's becoming like everything is working out for her, she looking good, and you trying to figure out why it's not happening for you because you are not doing what's in alignment for you. This is exactly what I used to talk about and go over when I was a self-care coach, because you are trying to mimic what somebody else does, calling it self-care, and you have not figured out your blueprint to know what works specifically with you. Not everything that works for somebody else is going to work for you. Okay? That's just the truth. So all the 5 a.m.s, waking up, all the cold showers, the 2-a-days you grinding, forcing, hustling, that level of discipline of you going so hard and feeling like you need to do that is masculine. And women who force themselves into borrowed masculine patterns, their nervous system revolts every time. This is why you see women climb the ladder at the corporate system, and they get at the very, very top, and they start losing it, or they have breakdowns, or they have major anxiety that they can't control, and XYZ. Why? Because they are out here playing or in male-centered fields, trying to act like the men, instead of standing in the value of the woman that she is and in her feminine. Said, this is so true. Experience. Thank you for affirming. Thank you for affirming what I'm saying. I appreciate that. This is the thing that we really have to understand. Your body cannot take that. Your body was not designed to do that. You were not designed to work like a man. You got to recognize the programming that has been put in our minds, in our heads. We are masterful at cultivating as women. We are masterful. We are multipliers. This is why corporations and companies hire a bunch of women, but they pay them so cheaply because women don't understand their value. Instead of trying to fight against systems, patriarchal systems, corporate systems, and different things like that, instead of trying to fight systems, why not just simply ascend and make the type of money that you want to make? Why do you have to beg a master to pay you more? See, this is what I don't understand. This is why do you have to beg for them to see your value? See, people need to understand and be very, very clear that these systems don't care about you. And the only way around these systems is to become spiritually rooted, because everything is rooted in law. When you understand spiritual law, you know how this world operates. And there are two elements of spiritual law. They're the ones who are operating in the fullness of occult knowledge and using that occult knowledge to be able to control a lot of the population, to put out a lot of lies, to put a lot of fear-mongering content out there. And then there are those who are operating in the spiritual matters, who are doing it in alignment with what the Creator actually desired, what the Creator actually designed. Okay? So you got to understand that. And when you understand spiritual things, you know how to move in this world. And most importantly, and I say this every time, 3 things a woman must do if she wants to thrive while she is on this planet. You don't know how long you're going to be here. You want to thrive, baby. You don't want to be out here in survival mode. Stop doing this to yourself, okay? You cannot do this to yourself. You cannot act like men. Y'all are ruining your nervous systems. And everybody keep talking about, oh, your nervous system need to be calm. Let me tell you something. If you haven't rewired your nervous system ain't going to be calm for no man. Cut that out. This is why I'm saying a lot of y'all don't even need to be dating. You don't know yourself enough to discern, and you don't even know what you want, and you outside. And this is why a lot of you end up continuing to be prey for savage men. And I'm just telling you the truth. The time frame right now, it is savage out here. And I told y'all this 2 years ago that this was going to happen. I told y'all 2 years ago. What you have to understand and you have to realize is that you are responsible for protecting your energetic field, your emotions, your heart space. And I talked about this, when did I talk about this? I talked about this in the Sacred Feminine League last night. I really broke down spiritual standards and how to guard your heart. Okay? Because it's really, really important. If y'all are out here not knowing how to guard your heart, not knowing how to discern, you don't know what you want, you don't know how to date, and this is why you end up in detrimental situations, or destitute, or drained. It's all because you are not discerning. And please don't get on here talking about they always talking about pick better, but men be masking. Let me tell you something. Nobody is wiser than the wisest that is within you if you would only ask. No one can outsmart you, outwit you, not even with occult knowledge when you are truly rooted in the truth of what it is spiritually. Nobody can trick you. Nobody can play you without your permission, participation, or the fact that you are not paying attention. That's how you get played. That's how you get played. Nobody can play you. Another way that you can play yourself is out here trying to act like men. You are not a man. You can't work like them. That's why, like I said, the great lock-in is not going to make you, y'all ain't going to make it past October, a lot of y'all. Because in your mind, you thinking you got to go hard, you got to do this, and you got to do that. I done told you, when women force borrowed masculine patterns, when they force themselves into those patterns, your nervous system is going to revolt every single time, going to fight you. That's why y'all probably going to start real strong in September, but by October, you're going to be so exhausted. You're going to be irritable, you're going to be skipping days, and you're going to silently start quitting. Thank you, said Facts. I appreciate that. Every time you collapse, you're going to call yourself, I'm just being lazy. No, you misaligned. You know why you can't finish the cycling workout? Because you hate cycling. You really, riding a bike doesn't align with you. It doesn't make you feel alive. Why do you think when you see women online and they're dancing their way and dancing the pounds away, they have literally found what works for them? Y'all are trying to do what other people are doing and wondering why it's not working and wondering why you can't stay locked in. You can't do anything that's not sustainable if it is not true to you. If it's not true to you. Okay? Discipline is not the answer. That's the big lie y'all been telling yourself. Law is the answer. Understanding the science of yourself is the answer. You got to know how your brain works. You got to know how you got to know what condition your soul is in. The soul is comprised of this: the mindset, the heart set, and the willpower, if you didn't know. Okay? The mindset, the heart set, and the willpower. If any one of these things are off, if any one of these things are not in sync with one another, you will not be able to execute what you want to execute. You first have to check in with the soul. You want to meet the goal, you're going to have to check in with your soul. Don't you understand that? And let me really break it down for you so you can get a better understanding. The corporate company that a lot of you have worked for, the corporate companies that you have worked for, okay, here's the thing that you need to understand. The corporation understands that they are taxing on your soul to meet their goals. I want you to understand that. That's why I say you need to check in with your soul if you want to meet your goals. Because the corporation that you're working for is taxing on your soul to meet their goal. What do you mean when you say that? Because when you go into a corporate setting and you go into HR and you sign that contract, you're signing a soul contract. Why is it a soul contract? Let's get into why it's a soul contract. I just broke down what a soul is. Your mindset, your heart set, and your willpower. So you sign that over for a salary. For money, for cheap, really, because they never pay you they're never going to pay you what you're worth. So you sign that over for cheap so you can meet their goals every single month, so you can hit your numbers, so you can make sure you're doing this, so you can make sure this is done. They're using your mind, they're using the energy of your heart, and they're using your ability to execute to meet their goals. So don't tell me you don't know how to accomplish, you don't know how to finish strong. You don't know how to focus on you. You don't know how to understand the science of you. See, the corporate system that you go into to work at or your job, it's already set up how many souls they need to meet their goal. Oh, we're hiring 3 people for this position. Okay? Because they're already taxing what they're going to get when they bring you in. So when I say if you want to achieve a goal, you need to check in with your soul first. It is very important. Your mindset got to be right. And the same thing at corporate. That's why they train you, because your mindset got to be right. You have to be trained to come into the corporate setting. This is why they give you the code of conduct to make sure that you manage your emotions, So you can't go all over the place and crazy when it's supposed to piss you off. They make sure they manage and they program how you are to operate when it comes down to your heart set. And then they give you a job description, which tells you what you need to execute. They are taxing on your soul to meet their goals. I ain't mad at it. But I just need you to see what the system is. And I just want you to ask yourself, how long are you going to allow corporations to tax on your soul so they can meet their goals while your goals fall by the wayside? These are the things that you need to be thinking about. Because by 2030, all these jobs and these honey, they're going to cut them out. They've been planning this for a long time now. And if you've been following me for a while, I've been telling you. I've been putting you on game every step of the way. And people have been seeing this stuff happen back to back. I'm not just talking. I'm showing you and telling you what it is. You have to get serious about your goals. Because if you don't, you are not going to ascend to where you need to be. And when everything really hits the fan, and I ain't going, but I keep telling y'all, remember I said 2027, and remember I said 2031. Remember them 2 years. And Lord willing, if I'm still here, and if I decide to still be in the coaching realm, you'll see what I'll bring it back up. I'll bring it back up. Because trust me, 2026, when you even look at it from, let's just say, you add up the year, that's a year of 1. That's a new start. That's a fresh start. A country is about to get a real fresh start. And a lot of us ain't going to like it. By 2027, you're going to see a whole lot of, it's going to be a lot of different maneuvers and things. 2026 is going to be a year of testing. Watch crowd control start getting more active. Watch the surveillance go up. Watch what I'm telling you. For 2026, just watch what I'm telling you. So when I'm telling you, you need to be focused on your goals and you need to know the science of yourself and you need to know your neuroscience so you can get to where you need to be just in case you need to do something. I'm not telling you for my health. I'm telling you because you need to be paying attention. A lot of y'all like to have conversations with chat. Y'all better start asking some deeper questions. I'm just saying. Because one thing about, and this is what you have to understand, and I've said this before. When it comes down to demonic influence or when it comes down to evil in general, they have to ask for permission. Permission has to be asked for. Permission has to be granted in order for them to get access, much like a man, much like anybody. Permission is required. And they have to tell you a little bit of the truth. They have to tell you a little bit just to say, well, at least I told you. The influence has to reveal some form of truth. And what people don't realize is they have been putting truth in movies for years. I didn't know this was going to happen. Yeah, they just told you it was make-believe. And didn't they make you believe that it was not real, that it was make-believe? What you have to understand in this life, in this society, is this. You will either make believe, meaning you will elevate your beliefs, or you will be made to believe something that's not true. And you're going to get a reality check. So this ain't the time for you to be slipping, oh yeah, I'm in a great lock-in. You better y'all better lock in. Because 2026 is only going to be a taste. I'm telling you, hold tight, okay? So let's talk about it, the law you can't escape. Physics does not bend, and brain wiring does not bend. When I'm talking about physics and I'm talking about neuroscience, those are the two things you can use to really, really shift and really, really change your life and meet your goals every single time. Achieving a goal is nothing. It's light work. The reason why you can't achieve the goal is because you don't have the right system. You have not figured out your unique formula. You have a uniqueness to you. When women come to work with me, I don't teach them how to be feminine. You're feminine by design. Nobody can teach you how to be feminine. I can help guide you back to yourself and activate something within you and show you how you can achieve everything that you thought that you couldn't. Works every time. Every time. I have hundreds of women that I've supported and I've helped. I'm not new to this. I'm very true to it. Okay? It doesn't matter how many planners you buy, how many arcs you sign up for. Law does not care about your intentions. If you push harder, you're going to be met with resistance. Much like that person that came in here and tried to push their agenda, push their negative energy into my space, and they were met with resistance. The block button, good evening and good night. That's literally the law of force in acceleration. The same way if a man meets a woman and a woman says, I'm dating for marriage, she set a firm standard. That's force, but it's actually a form of influence. So it's not force, it's influence. It's a firm standard. So either that man is going to rise up to that standard or he's going to fall down because that's not what he's looking for. And she accelerated the process and not wasting her time because she had that standard already set. That is also Newton's law. These are the laws of motion that I'm telling you. I'm telling you science. So when I tell you attraction is a science, and I understand how to attract anything I desire, and I understand how to magnetize things in my space, it's because I'm a nerd. I study scripture and science like all the time, every day. And I find, because the scripture is nothing but a book of codes. It's a book of codes, which is why it's very difficult for you to read. You have to sit with it. You have to study it. And it will begin to reveal itself to you. And you will learn how to implement. And the reason why it says get the word and tattooed on your heart is because you need to activate these codes here. Meaning that the heart posture has to be proper. Vibrational state. These are the things you got to pay attention to. It's a book of codes. You think it's a book of restrictions. It's a book of expansion. It's a book of ascension. It's a book of alignment. It's a book of abundance. You don't know, you haven't activated it yet. And it gets activated within yourself when you sit, but most people don't want to sit with themselves enough to even get what you need so that you can thrive on this earth. Because if you are walking around this earth and you don't understand spiritual law, my love, you are not thriving, you are surviving. And it's going to smother you out. Thank you, my love, for these likes and these follows. If you carry too much emotional mass, progress is going to feel impossible. If you force yourself into a grind, your nervous system is going to rebel every single time. And I'm sure a lot of you have felt this before, motivated at first, dragging later, pretending to still be locked in while secretly praying that nobody notices that you actually fell off, that you're slipping. That's not a weakness. That's law. That's law. You put too much pressure on yourself, so you started resisting the process because you didn't find what works for you. Y'all got to stop doing what other people do just because it looks popular and it looks cool. You got to find what works for you. Okay, going to Hot Works work for her, but does that really work for you in the goals that you're trying to set? You love swimming. Why don't you get a gym membership somewhere where you could swim every day? Oh, I don't want to get my hair messed up. Girl, you want these goals or not? Because don't piss me off. Girl, you want to ascend or not? Girl, you want to be rooted and grounded so you can really enjoy the fruit of your labor, or you want to be a slave to a system? What do you want? That's what you got to ask yourself. Until you understand the laws that you have been violating, you will keep collapsing at the halfway. That's why you keep collapsing, because you're not realizing the laws that you're violating. And here's the cruelest trap of it all. Here's the hardest part about it. Not only do you collapse, like stop the process, but you shame yourself for stopping. See, now you're in a vibrational state of shame. Not only did you stop, but when you stopped, you dropped. Vibrational state. See, y'all be missing it. So people start, girl, you still going to the gym? Yeah, I was going, and then I stopped. And I'm telling you, this is what I'm teaching is spiritual law and it's science. If you want to thrive as a woman, you need to understand spiritual law. You need to understand the science of yourself. You need to study the psychology of your generational lineage. You need to pay attention to that. I noticed when I studied the generational lineage in my family that there was a bit of issues with thyroid, right? I also noticed the women who had thyroid issues struggled to communicate and speak their truth. Them not speaking their truth caused them to have an issue. to the point to where something started growing to the point as if it was crushing their voice box. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Better stop playing yourself. What books would I recommend to a beginner who wants to learn science and spiritual law? The first book I would definitely recommend would be Is It Close to Me? And it is. It's always not too far behind. The Ethiopian Bible is one, for sure. That's the first thing that I would recommend. That's the first thing that I would recommend. The second thing that I would recommend is for you to understand the laws of the universe. The third thing that I would tell you to grasp understanding is that the laws of science and how things are governed. You'll start to see the pattern in everything. From spiritual to science to psychologically, you'll begin to see it. Okay? Thank you, love. So let's talk about it. But like I said, not only do you collapse, it's the Ethiopian Bible. You type it in, it's one with 88 books in it. Okay? You shame yourself after you collapse, or you shame yourself for collapsing, right? You tell yourself things like you're lazy and you're inconsistent. These are things you say. Y'all don't realize the spells that you put yourself under. Hold tight. Y'all, see, this is why you have to understand scripture. There's power of life and death in the tongue. The tongue has to be bridled. You know why? Because I'm going to tell you something. When you speak something aloud, the brain does not recognize if it's a joke or if it's a lie or if it's true. It takes it in automatically as fact. Automatically, it takes it in. Thank you, my love. It takes it all the way in. Thank you, lovey. So if it's taking it in as truth, you wonder why someone is getting offended. So let's talk about this from a perspective of you're arguing with another individual, or you're talking to another individual and you insult them with your mouth. Okay? When you insult them with your mouth, if that person is not rooted in truth, right? If this is not rooted in truth, what you are speaking, if that person is not rooted in the truth of themselves, that person's brain is going to be activated behind what you're saying. And people who are not rooted in truth are unstable, baby. They're unstable. They're very unstable. They can't take what you're saying to them. So they're going to either get verbally aggressive or possibly even physically aggressive. For example, if a woman or a man were to come to me and say to me that I was ugly, right? In my younger years, when I was not rooted in the truth of who I am, and I did not know my identity in the one that created me, when someone said that, if someone were to say that to me, that would crush me. That would really, really crush me, right? Should someone say something like that to me now, I know that it's a lie. Not only because I am aesthetically pleasing, for myself, because that's what matters. But most importantly, in scripture, it says that I'm beautifully and wonderfully made. So if an individual looks at me and says that I'm ugly, what I automatically know is that this person's word can't be trusted, because they don't even know themselves that they are beautifully and wonderfully made. Because if they did, they would not let it part from their lips that I was ugly, because I am a creation of the Creator. I am also created in the likeness and the image, which means I have a goddess. Like, what do you mean? What you're saying is not true. So it's not even worth arguing or getting upset with that person, because they don't know themselves. So they're not qualified to speak on me. You understand? But that's what happens when you're rooted in the truth of who you are. You can't tell me about me. See, I know my light. I know my shadow. I'm very in touch with my light and my dark feminine. I'm not one of them. You can't hold me hostage for things that I've done in the past, because I freed myself and I am the only one with the key. So I wouldn't dare lock myself back up when I've always had the key to free myself. The kingdom of heaven has been sitting in me the whole time. All I had to do was leave the mansion of monstrosity of my thoughts and my mind and travel down to the kingdom to get access and unlock that. So when you get rooted in the truth of who you are, minuscule words or the opinions or the thoughts of other people truly don't matter. But the problem is, most people are not on that type of time. Most people are not rooted in their truth. And most people walk around and they are very offended. You need to watch your mouth in the way that you speak to yourself. Because I'm going to tell you something. I'm about to tell you something really. I really want you to catch this. I really want you to catch this, okay? An example of dark feminine would be setting a boundary. That's an example of dark feminine. I want you to understand something about, oh, I lost my train of thought. Hold on, y'all. Y'all hold y'all questions for me, because I want to answer them, but it'll throw me off. I'm going to have to come back to it. What's the last thing I said before that, y'all? I know we were talking about the tongue, but it was something on here, and I don't have it written down. It'll come back to me. Oh, watch how you talk to yourself. I got it. So here's the thing right here that I need you to understand. You need to know the difference between a declaration and an affirmation. You need to know the difference between a declaration and an affirmation, okay? When you get in the mirror and you're saying, oh, I'm beautiful, I'm this, I'm smart, I'm kind, whatever, right? You're supposed to be affirming what you already know to be true, but it's almost like a reminder, like it's affirming power. What I don't think people realize is when you start to shame yourself and you start to say things like, I'm inconsistent, I'm lazy, I'm broken, I'm this, I'm that. Those are declarations. Declarations are more powerful than affirmations. I want you to hear what I'm saying. Okay? Affirmations have less power than declarations. Anytime you heard or you read that the Most High said, let there be, let there be, let there be, it was, it was, it was, and it was every single time, right? Every single time. So when you declare something, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, you are declaring, you are programming your mind saying, I am broken, I am that, I'm lazy, I'm this, I'm that. And because that is what you are training yourself to do, that is the energy that you sit in. That is the experiences that you continue to have. Okay? And these are the things that a lot of women don't really realize and understand. You need to be very careful about what you declare over yourself, because declarations have way more power than affirmations. Affirming something is you believing that it's already there. If you're saying I'm beautiful, it's because you already believe that you're beautiful. You're just affirming the belief. But we are speaking specifically about the things that you declare over yourself. And when women get into this trap, they get into this messy trap, and they start declaring things over themselves and saying that they're lazy, saying that they're inconsistent, saying that they're broken, when in reality, you're just obeying laws that nobody told you to obey. You're violating laws that you don't know, that are impacting you. And I try to tell people all the time, just because you decide not to participate in the spiritual aspect of this life does not mean that the spiritual aspect of this life is not active. And one thing for sure, two things for certain. Law has to be honored. Point blank, period, the end. And that is what we have to understand. Law has to be honored. The sun and the moon follow law. That's why they show up every day. The sun and the moon are celestial bodies, luminaries. So they showing up every day because they got a schedule. Go ahead and read in the book of Enoch what happened when the stars didn't show up. It was some stars that were supposed to show up at a certain time and they didn't show up. Go and read in Enoch what the Creator decided to do to the stars that didn't show up. Everything in decency and in order. Ecclesiastes lets you know that right up front. There's a time for everything. And when something does not show up on time, it throws everything else off. Much like your circadian rhythm clock within your body. If one of your organs is off balance, if it's sick, it's throwing everything else off. Perfect example. Let me help you out. For those of you who struggle, who have irregular periods, let me put you on game. Coming from someone who had an issue of blood of 21 years, coming from someone who they diagnosed with polycystic ovarian at the age of 20, when in 2004 when nobody was talking about it, coming from someone who doesn't have those issues anymore. Okay? What you have to understand is this. In order for you to have a healthy cycle, a consistent cycle, the heart, the kidneys, the liver, and the spleen all have to be functioning and in balance. Yeah. So when you're not getting no cycle, one of them is off. And when one is off, it throws everything else off. If you want to conceive, see, let's get into it. Not only do you need to have all four of those functioning, but you need your heart and your kidneys to be at super, super, super strong functioning in order to conceive, to actually capture. Because when you get pregnant, the heart enlarges. One of my modalities is that I'm an energetic psychology practitioner, which means that I understand how your emotions, okay, which is energy in motion, all right? Your energy in motion impacts your organs. Like you having that grudge against your baby daddy, it might make you blind. It actually might make you also walk yourself right into type 2 diabetes, which actually positions you to become blind if you have it for too long because it attacks the liver. Anger in Chinese medicine, the energy of anger gets stored in your liver. So you think you have all these cramps every single month on your period and you think that it's normal. It is not normal, sweetheart. That is cold energy in your body. Let's get into it. So you can do all the liver detoxes, huh? You can do all these things, but none of it is going to work if you don't clear out that anger. You ever heard of the term blind rage? Oh, yeah. See, I just told you that demonic influences have to tell you what's up. You just ain't paying attention. Thank you, my love, for these gifts and these follows and these shares. You just ain't paying attention. They pimping you. You ain't paying attention, though. They tell you what's up. Blind rage. Huh? Yeah. You're going to worry yourself sick? You ever heard of that? Your grandma say that, your mama say that, your auntie. You know what that means? Worry, the energy of worry, how it tells you. Worry is a scriptural violation. It's a spiritual violation. It's a lack of faith. It's a lack of trust that you're going to be provided for. And the feminine is always provided for. When Eve got here, she didn't ask where the lights was at, where the food at, where everybody going to be. She walked directly into everything she needed. Doesn't things always seem to work out for you? Oh, little faithless? Yeah. It's the lack of belief. It's the lack of belief. And that's just why it's really important for you to understand neuroscience. You need to understand the science of yourself and how you operate. These are the things that women are missing. This is why I keep telling y'all, a lot of y'all ain't gonna make it with the winter arc and the great lock-in. By the time October comes, it's gonna be a wrap for you. It's gonna be a wrap for you. Because you don't know how to treat yourself. You don't know how to honor yourself. Like I said, you're just obeying laws that nobody taught you. So every single year, or every new year, you may enter into January or even September with this winter arc business and with the great lock-in. You enter in with motivation, but by October or February, you relapse with the same story. I'll try later. My new year gonna start in February. I'm gonna try again and start here. But guess what ends up happening? That shame you carrying, that shame. Let me tell y'all something. Shame is a low vibrational state. Shame makes you a slave. Shame will shorten your lifespan because it's the secrecy that you got to carry behind it. This is why when women come to work with me, I help you discover your freedom formula. And it includes freeing yourself from things of the past that maybe happened that when you didn't know yourself and know your value, you allowed yourself to experience. But see, when I show you that you have the key to free yourself from that and undo those shackles, you'll realize that nobody else can put you back in those shackles. That's why I'm never worried about anybody coming out and saying something crazy about me. Man, when she was in her 20s, she was crazy. Believe them, because I was. What about it? See, I don't deny the aspects of who I've been in the different transitions in my life. People try to hide that. For what? For what? Everybody has something. Nobody has any room to judge you based on their opinion. You can only judge me by my fruit. So women really have to understand and realize the shame that you're carrying. That's the gap between you saying who you want to be, right? It's like who you want to be and the collapse that you keep repeating. That shame. And that's the space where I come in. That's why I come in to help you come out of that. Because shame is a low vibrational state and it's not too far from apathy. And see, when you start going into shame, apathy, and all these things, that's when your mind start getting played with in the spiritual realm. You start thinking you're not worthy. You start thinking you're not good enough. You start thinking you have to settle. You know why women settle in relationships with men that they don't really want to be with, to be honest? Why they sit there and will continue to argue with a man. Arguing with a man is insane to me, but whatever. They will continue to sit there and they will do that because they don't believe that they're going to be able to find anyone else. They don't believe that they're worthy of being in experiences where they're valued. And that's true. You know why it's true, though? Because they're not valuing themselves. When you don't value yourself, no one is ever going to treat you better than you treat yourself. This is why you should always treat yourself like a first-class experience. And you'll hear some women come on the apps talking about romanticize your life. That's what they're saying. Fall in love with yourself. People fall in love with yourself. Fall in love with yourself. You are not here to fall in love with men. And truthfully, and this is just me and my stance, there is no such thing as falling in love. You either love or you don't. Love is a choice. Love is an everyday decision, especially if you talk about marriage. You better wake up. It's a choice to be kind, to be patient, to not keep a record of wrongdoing. It's a choice. What do you mean, your miserable feelings? Love is not about your feelings. This is why when women get married and talk about something, I'm just not happy. Your happiness is your responsibility. People can add to your happiness, but you are supposed to have a whole foundation for yourself. This is why women get into scenarios and they lose themselves and be like, I lost myself in this. You didn't have yourself from jump. That's the true tea. You never had you in mind from jump. You was thinking about the wedding. You was thinking about everything else. You was fantasizing. You never had you. You didn't lose you. You never had you. And that's the reality that we need to pay attention to now. So if you're going to lock in means I got me. And the problem is a lot of women want other people to get them and they're not even getting themselves. Wake up. Nobody is coming to save you and nobody cares. And the world is crashing down on your head. And you need to pay attention. Take all of these things off your altar and stop worshiping. When I say take these things off your altar, I'm saying stop worshiping. Stop worshiping men. Stop worshiping their third leg. Y'all act like y'all don't know how to live. Y'all act like y'all don't know how to transmute that ovulation energy into creating something great other than laying on your back. If you're not about to have a baby, see, let's get into it. Why do you lack self-control? Take it off the altar. Y'all are worshiping it, which is why you can't prioritize yourself. And that's a problem. That's a problem. Take it off the altar. Because y'all are worshiping it. And I'm not even kidding. Let me just be blunt. Until you master how to finish, you will always be at war with yourself. Until you master how to finish things that you start, you will always be at war with yourself. Thank you, Lovey. Always. I've seen it hundreds of times, y'all. I've seen women start these things, start arcs, buy challenges, commit to diets, only to fizzle within a month and a half. I'm serious. One of my clients told me, I thought I was lazy because I never finished when I started. But when I showed her the law, right, that she had been violating specifically, she stopped quitting on herself. She stopped quitting on herself. And she started executing. Another woman admitted that she had done and tried all kind of workout programs and different things like several different times. She was still having hormonal issues, acne, all of that. Explained to her the law. Got her together. Did some rewiring hormonally, physically, using physics. Hormonal acne gone. Healthier lifestyle activated. I don't sell hype. Anybody will tell you, I don't sell hype. Because I don't do it. I don't teach hustle. I teach law. I teach law. Because law has to be obeyed. If you really want to create the life you want, it has to be obeyed. Even something as simple as y'all like to talk about the law of attraction. Y'all got to obey these laws. The law of polarity. You're saying that you want a masculine man, then you need to know the law of polarity. The law of polarity means you are going to be staying in your feminine energy no matter what. These are things you're not making sense. A young lady had asked too. I'm gonna say this before. Well, let me say this part. Laws govern your body. Laws govern your brain. Laws govern your emotions. And when you align with law, you don't just start, you finish. It hits different. It was a young lady who asked, why is it not okay to argue with men? I think arguing with men is absolutely insane. I think arguing with anybody is insane because it's a form of sorcery. Here's why I say it's a form of sorcery, and why most women who claim to be Christians participate in more witchcraft than they realize. They participate in more sorcery than they realize. And I'm a believer. I'm a 100% believer. But most these folks, especially the ones that say they're Christians, the thing is this: a lot of Christians love to argue the scripture, right? They love to argue the scripture. There is nowhere in scripture that talks about arguing scripture. There is nowhere in scripture that talks about trying to defend God. There is nowhere that tells you to do any of this, which is why when Christians try to go and talk to atheists about this, they literally eat them for breakfast, because most atheists have studied scripture, and a lot of them have gone to seminary school, in theological school, in theology school. And because of that, they've done all of this and they've decided it ain't for them. I had an experience with the Most High. I decided it was for me as an adult based on what I've seen, right? But a lot of Christians and people will try to argue, and to argue by definition means to prove or to persuade. To argue means to prove or to persuade. When you are trying to prove something to someone, you're trying to make them choose what it is that you are saying as fact, as truth, when they have already committed to something else. Because when you have to prove to them, that means you're going overboard, explaining, showing stuff, doing this. You're trying to convince them. Why are you trying to convince somebody who's already made up their mind? See, if you understood that, you wouldn't argue with anybody. Once a person has made up their mind about who I am, and I know doggone well they don't know me, they haven't really experienced me, but they have this perception of me, I'm not arguing or defending myself. See, that's your ego. That's your ego that want to defend yourself. And then you be like, oh, but God wouldn't. Let me tell you something. You want to talk about God, because people like to talk about Jesus. I don't call the Messiah Jesus, but people like to talk about the Messiah and living like the Messiah. The Messiah didn't answer to stuff that he didn't need to answer to. He was sitting in the courtroom and they was accusing him of all kind of stuff. He didn't say nothing until they asked him a direct question on something that was actually real that he could answer. He ain't defend himself in a court of law. Y'all be wilding. So trying to prove something, you're trying to change their mind. And the one thing that God doesn't do is change our mind. The Most High don't even make us choose him. We literally have a choice to choose or not choose. I respect that. I respect it. Said when I stopped arguing with my husband, life got sweeter on everything. I know it's real. And here's the crazy part: it's scriptural. That's it talks about how dangerous and how horrible it is to live with a contentious woman, right? It also talks about how a soft answer turns away wrath. When somebody is trying to be rah with you and you won't give them that energy, eventually they're going to start feeling like a fool. They're going to start feeling stupid. It's going to make them think. It's going to make them pause. But if you join them in that energy, they don't even get to think or self-reflect on their behavior. And you can't check them because you acting like an animal just like them. See, this is the law of polarity in action. How she said that she don't argue. Because arguing is sorcery. Why I'm going to try to change your mind? For what, baby? You committed to believing what you believe? Okay. I don't convince nobody to be a believer. When people say, do I have to be a believer to come? Thank you, my love, for these gifts, these comments, and these likes. When people say, do I have to be a believer to come and work with you? You don't have to be a believer, but understand that I am a believer. And understand that everything I teach is rooted in scripture, backed up by science and psychology. And if you cool with it, I'm cool. Because I'm cool with what I got going on. And women have come to me after the fact and be like, I never even really read scripture like that until I started working with you. I have such a deeper understanding of that. I have this, I have that. And all praises to the Most High for that, when those things happen. But I'm not arguing with nobody. Just like I argued with dude when he came here talking about some MAGA. I'm not finna argue with you. You so used to triggering people and they go off and curse you out. Baby, you're not even worth my energy. Why would I transfer my good energy over here, like, to you? And what y'all gotta understand is, and this is something that's true, and a lot of them won't admit it. Let me fix this. A lot of them won't admit this, but it is true. For some men, for a lot of men. Why is this not doing this? Hold on, y'all. I'm trying to put this puzzle piece in here. There we go. A lot of men, they get turned on when you argue back with them. it makes some of them stand up because they're turned on. So why would you give that type of energy of arguing with somebody like that? Why? Why would you do that? Try to prove a point? And then the second aspect of arguing, the definition is to persuade. We already know persuasion has a little bit of manipulation in it. And manipulation of mental energy without permission is high-level sorcery. You understand? So yeah, that's why I don't argue with men. Because for what? I don't need to defend myself. I don't need to impress. And I don't need to prove. The truth don't need to be debated. It is what it is. The truth always come out in the end. Much like, and I'm not even going to get on this, but I'm just going to tap on it. I don't even listen to these people, but I like Gunna, right? I like him. I like Gunna. Because when the whole world was turning against him and talking about him like a dog, he ain't say nothing. He just sat back because he knew the truth was going to come out. And the person who was bumping their gums, speaking terribly about that man, calling him all kind of stuff. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. He the main one who was doing exactly what he accused dude of doing. See, you don't have to say nothing, baby. The Most High will handle your lightweight. Yes, would not shut up on them phones. And folks talking about the streets dead, baby. The streets been dead since the 90s. And I'm a 90s kid, born in the 80s. I'm 41. It's been gone. What you see in front of you, ladies and gentlemen, is a gimmick show, is a minstrel show, meant to program your mind, and I hope you're not falling for it. But the truth don't have to be debated. You don't have to prove. You don't have to argue. You ain't got to do none of that. Nah. I ain't trying to change your mind, baby. When I tell you, down to the part where if a man even says, well, I don't spend money on women. Me. Okay. Well, I value men who invest. That's the standard. He gonna get out of my face. Most of the time, if I say that anyway, they end up turning around and investing anyway because they really just be trying to test. Baby, who you talking to? Who you talking to, sweetheart? Because you're not talking to me. I'm walking art. Walking art. I'm a muse. Muse is a source of inspiration. Okay? A source of inspiration. I inspire investigation and investment of time, energy, attention, and money. So we're not in alignment. Real simple, real easy. I ain't even mad. Right? I ain't even mad. These are the things that we have to really, really kind of pay attention to. Okay? So again, I don't teach hustle. I don't sell hype. I teach law. Okay? So let's get into this space. Let me be real crystal clear here. The great lock-in for many is not going to last past October unless you change how you execute. Okay? You have to change how you execute. So, you're welcome. I'll praise to the Most High. Oh, excuse me, y'all. I ate some food early, some spaghetti early, and I just felt it. And if you're tired of starting strong only to collapse, if you're tired of buying planners, if you're tired of doing challenges and buying them that you never complete, or programs that you relapse, this is where the cycle is going to end for you, okay? I created a masterclass. Y'all know I stopped doing masterclasses, so I'm only doing one for this quarter, okay? I'm doing one this quarter. It is going to be 2 weeks from today. It's called Finish What You Start, okay? This not going to be free. Y'all know I don't do nothing, no free classes. So it's not free because the advice and the insight that I'm going to give you is going to help you rewire your brain. I'm going to show women specifically how to use physics and how to use neuroscience to finally follow through without force without burning yourself out, without quitting halfway ever again. I used to start and quit stuff all the time, y'all. All the time. I used to quit, okay? This is not motivation. This is not hype. This is literally a collapse proof method, all right? So here's a choice. You can continue to keep pretending like, oh, discipline, it works. Or you can learn the laws and you can actually start finishing what you start, okay? The class is $127. You can get it with Klarna Affirm and Afterpay, all right? Because I don't want y'all to start this and then turn around and you're not completing it. You're not finishing it, because it just doesn't make any sense. And the reason why a lot of women struggle, like I said, to meet their goals is because they're not checking in with their soul first, and they don't understand the science of themselves. We as women are cyclical beings. That means we operate on a cycle. We have the sun clock, which is the 24-hour circadian rhythm clock that we have in common with men, and then we also have the moon clock, which is basically your lunar clock, and your 28 to 35 day cycle. Even if you are menopausal, perimenopausal, you still have a hormonal cycle that you need to be working with and not working against. One of the reasons why when I was 100 pounds heavier, I was so sick was because I was working against my design and working against my clock. Going, hustling, working hard, and it was not working out for me. It was literally making me sick. It was breaking my body down. But it's when I began to understand the physics of my body, right? Understanding the laws of motion, understanding the neuroscience of how to reprogram my mind, how to rewire my nervous system. It positioned me to be able to not only execute, but receive at full capacity. A lot of you are asking for things that you don't have the capacity for. Women are out here asking for relationships when you don't have a good relationship with yourself. If you don't have a healthy relationship with yourself, if you are not a safe place to land for yourself, if you don't trust yourself, you're not going to attract anyone that's going to reflect those things, because you're not an energetic match to receive that. So you don't have the capacity to be able to receive that, and you need to keep it real with yourself. But when you position yourself by signing up, right, for Finish What You Start, the class for 127, once you begin to knock out your goals, once you begin to achieve goal mastery, is going to build your confidence. It's going to elevate you. Confidence is very key. Having confidence is going to position you to leave spaces that you know are not aligned for you. Women settle, and women don't leave spaces because they don't see the value in themselves, because they have not built up their confidence, because they have not achieved any of their goals. They have been focused on everybody else but themselves, and when they finally start trying to do that, it's too much pressure. It's not this, it's not that, and nothing works for them. It's because you have not figured out your science. And in this class, in this masterclass, you're going to learn how to figure out your science, because that is extremely important. You cannot operate at the blueprint of somebody else. Y'all have been trying to do it like men, and it is not working. You have to do it in alignment with your design as a woman, okay? So in this class, you're going to learn how to finish what you start. And this class is happening 2 weeks from today at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I am only going to allot 15 seats for this class. Y'all know I stopped doing master classes earlier this year because I was like, I'm not really doing them unless I do them quarterly. This is the only one. This is the only one that I'm doing this quarter, and no, it is not going to be for resale. So if you don't get in it, because it's going into a program, if you don't get in it, you are going to miss it. But if you are tired of not hitting your goals, if you are tired of starting and not finishing, then this is going to be the class for you. You need to be there, okay? It's 127. It is, you can get a Klarna Affirm and Afterpay, and it is going to be vital, because by the time 2026 happens, you just need to be in the groove of consistently meeting your goals. You don't have time to wait to January. Y'all gonna play. Please don't play the piss out of yourself by waiting until January. You are gonna hurt your own feelings. Society does not care about you, and they're about to unleash some things to further show you, and they already started, about how they don't care about you. A lot of people are going to, I gotta be real careful how I say this. A lot of people are gonna fall off this earth, if you get my drift. And that's what they want. Please make your spiritual health, mental health, emotional health, and physical health a priority. These hospitals are closing, and y'all gonna get a rude awakening about insurance and some other things that's coming down the pipeline too, even more. Please get focused on what is important. If you know you struggle to not finish what you start, you need to be in class 2 weeks from now. It's not a game. It's not a joke. Once those 15 seats are up, those 15 seats are up. Because like I said, I stopped doing masterclasses for a while. This one is necessary, though. I'm seeing all the people coming in. Oh, I'm doing this, the great lock-in. Y'all, please don't play yourself. You are not finna be locked in. If you ain't reprogrammed your brain and your mind and you don't understand your side, you not finna be locked in. You lying. And I don't even want you to attract another lie into your space. Because if you lie to yourself, guess what? The universal algorithm, because the universe is an algorithm created by the Most High. The universal algorithm is going to respond to your lies by providing you with more liars. And you claim you don't like men who lie, you don't like people who lie, you don't understand why people lie. You stop lying to yourself. Because here's the thing that you have to understand. When you are a very transparent, clear person, you are a very aware, self-assured person, a liar does not feel comfortable sitting at your table. They actually feel exposed when you look at them. But see, a liar feels comfortable with another liar because they're never going to check each other because neither one of them like accountability. Hi, lovey. So these are the things that you have to remember. So all this, the gray lock-in, and I'm locked in. I'm in the gray lock-in. I'm in the gray lock-in. I started. I'm with it. My dad's death really pushed me. I buried my dad on the 30th. The lock-in started on the 1st. I was there on the 1st. I got a new fire underneath me. You understand? But I have the formula that's going to work for me to execute my goals. Do you? Do you? Okay? What questions do you guys have for me? You can click the link in the bio to get access to get your ticket to finish what you start. You're going to get an email tonight for those who buy their tickets today. You're going to get an email tonight with the information. And there's also going to be a bit of a bonus that we get in that class. I'm not going to tell y'all now. It's just going to be for the people who are going to be in class. Okay? So, I'm really excited. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Any questions, any questions, any questions? So, now you know why the Great Lock-In is not going to do well for a lot of people and why a lot of people are going to fall off by October. It's because they don't understand the physics of themselves and they don't understand the neuroscience necessary to be able to program them to reach their goals. And you don't have to believe me. Look this stuff up. Look up neuroplasticity. Look it up. You can rewire your entire brain chemistry. Yep. I've done it. I've taught my clients to do it. Like, you can definitely do it. And you will achieve the goals that you want to achieve. It's totally up to you. So if you're going to lock in, lock all the way in. And I recommend everyone locking in. I swear I do. I really do recommend you locking in. Because if you don't lock in, you might be locked out. And I'm not going to explain that. But I'm going to say it again. If you don't lock in and you know you really need to lock in and you're supposed if you don't lock in and you know you really need to lock in and you're supposed to lock, you may find yourself in a space where you're locked out. And it's one of the worst places to be with everything that's coming down the pipeline. Okay? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? If not, I'm finna get out of here. Okay? And you click the link in the bio to get access, get your ticket to finish what you start. Because starting something, buying all this stuff so you can start and not really doing nothing is crazy. Let's actually get some things done. Let's actually get some things situated. Let's actually get some things in place. It's all cute, all these little dopamine hits, but we need results. And I'm a very results-driven individual, okay? You're welcome. All right, y'all. I'm not seeing any questions. You can click the link in the bio to sign up for my Substack if you like to read and you want information on feminine, sacred feminine power and sacred currencies of the feminine. I go really, really deep and dive over there. You can you can be a free member, a free subscriber, or you can be a paid subscriber. The paid subscribers get more. They get more. You can sign up for the magnetic wealth blueprint, which is something that a lot of women have been picking up lately, where it supports them in the area of detaching from the ideas they have around money, around love, and around their nervous system, so that they actually can make more money, attract the type of partners, and date with discernment. Women are dating with no discernment, y'all, please, it's crazy. Like, we have to stop. Thank you so much. We have to stop that. Why are you out here not with no discernment? It's crazy work. Okay. Um, so that's the thing that we have to realize, we have to understand. You're going to learn how to regulate your nervous system so that you increase your receiving capacity. You're going to learn about your feminine design. You're going to learn how to close four-figure deals by using your intelligence and packaging packaging it into a program or a service that is going to support you in closing four figures or more. You're also going to learn how to get passively paid. And these are all the things that I did to be able to build a multi-six-figure business from the house. And let me just be real with you. Nothing has to be perfect. Because I'll tell you straight up, my first $100,000 came from me being on a crack phone. I swear to you. I did not. The only reason I bought a phone because my sister kept getting on my nerves about it, and the phone finally stopped working. But otherwise, I would have still had my A+. Right now, I got a 12+ because my money doesn't go into that. So you literally can make this type of money from your phone. You just need to get yourself in alignment, and most importantly, you have to finish what you start. You have to finish what you start. Thank you, Lovey. So click the link in the bio to get a ticket to the masterclass to finish what you start. It's $127. Like I said, you can get a recliner firm and afterpay. Those who get their tickets, it's only 15 seats. I'm not doing any more than 15 seats. This is not going to go up for a replay or resale or anything like that. What I can tell you is that this is going to teach you how to achieve any goal that you have in your life. Okay? It's going to set up the structure, and all you have to do is follow the structure and pay attention to it. You're going to be good. All right? All right, let me let y'all go. It's time to go. I hope that y'all have an amazing, amazing day. Click the link in the bio to find out about any other of my services and my programs and different things. And I will talk to y'all soon. I hope y'all have an amazing one. And subscribe to my YouTube channel. All right? Peace, y'all.